It was. But at the age of 19, the president of our country said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And so I decided at the age of 19 to quit college and go to the Peace Corps. And so I spent 2 years on the border between Haiti and Dominican Republic, working with a community of people to build a 2-room school, which still exists to this day in that country. That was in the year of 1963. My storytelling grew out of that. And I would invite you, whatever age you are, to enjoy a little story today that perhaps takes us back to our early years. This is a story that I've created called Tiger Roar. Now, in this story, I'll be telling the story, but you get a chance to help me. And you can help me, if you will, by making the sounds of the animals in the story when we come to that place in the telling. The story begins in a far distant land, in a land where there stood a great high mountain called Mount Bakhtal. Now, Bakhtal, in the language of that land, meant giant of the white cape. For you see, that mountain was covered with snow, summer, winter, spring, and fall. Now, down at the foot of the mountain, there stood a great green valley, and that green was there every month of the year, summer, winter, spring, and fall. And so it was that on that mountain there lived a family of tigers. And those tigers found food to eat, but it came to a time when the snow was so deep that they couldn't find enough. And one day, a mother tiger with her little tiger cub that had just been born came down from the mountain looking for something to eat. And that mother tiger there, she saw some sheep. And she raised up and she let out a great roar. And the sheep ran in 100 different directions. They cried out and said, "Bah! Bah!" The tiger chased after the sheep, but in chasing the sheep, she used all of her energy, and she slowly stopped and stumbled and fell to the ground. She was dead. Now, when that mother tiger died, her little tiger cub that she had with her was left standing there. And the little tiger began to cry very quietly. And as the tiger cub cried, the sheep heard the sounds of the crying. And one of the mother sheep, feeling her sympathy, she came to that little tiger and she gave the little tiger some of her milk that she fed to her lambs to drink. And so it was that little tiger came to live with the sheep. And so instead of learning to he learned to say, "Yeah." Very strange, for you could see this little tiger had a coat of bright colors of orange and black, and he had a very loud voice. When he tried to talk like one of the sheep, it would scare the other sheep because it was so loud. He did his best to be like the sheep, as we all do. And so it was one day from down, that's the trail from the mountain there came another tiger, and this was a father tiger, and he was very strong, and when he saw those sheep, he let out a great roar. And the sheep went running in 100 different directions. They cried out and said, all except one. That little tiger had courage in his heart, and he stood before the big tiger, and he looked up, and the big tiger said, "What's this? A tiger that lives with sheep?" The little tiger looked up and said, "What's this? You are not one of these sheep. Here, come, I will show you." And so he picked up the little tiger in the scruff of his neck, and he carried him over to a place where there was a pool of water, and he said, "Now look down into that water. Do you not see two faces with black and yellow stripes?" The little tiger looked down. He looked up at the big tiger. He looked down. But again, when he looked up, he said, "No, no, no, you are not. You are not one of the sheep. I will teach you better." And so he picked up the little tiger, and he carried him up that mountain, high up into the mountains where there was a cave where he had juicy red meat that he loved best to eat. And he brought out that meat, and he took a piece of that meat, and he put it forward for the little tiger. At first, the little tiger pushed it away. He didn't want to taste it, but the big tiger said, "No, I want you to taste this meat." And so the little tiger, he took the piece of meat, and he put it in his mouth. And he liked the taste of that meat. And so he ate one piece of meat, two pieces of meat, three pieces of meat, four pieces of meat, and then it happened. Something came alive inside of him, and that little tiger stood up tall, and he let out a great roar. And so they said, he learned that he was really a tiger. And so he lived up on that mountain, but he did not forget the sheep who had helped him in his life when he was starting out. And so they said that that tiger, for many, many years, it made sure that no tiger was allowed to go down into the valley and hunt those sheep for their meal. And so we have a story of a little tiger learning to roar.